Now to play games. I am one of your hosts, John, and with me, the Bandicoot, formerly known as Willy the Wombat. It's Finn, the objectified, throwing the guns up Finn. Let me see those guns.
Daddy, it's going. You know what? It's going for sleep. It's going for sleep.
Shh, we don't want to get banned real fast. No. Keep those things.
I got knocked off balance 5 seconds before air. But we're gonna move on. We're just gonna, you know what? We're back in it.
Let's
serious video game podcast, everyone.
Look, you don't know about us, but this is Now to Play Games, and we're goofy, 100% goofy. Finn, it has been 3 weeks. How you been, buddy? What's going on?
Playing a lot of Metroid Dread and being ill, but better now, and more Metroid Dread. Love Metroid Dread.
How are you liking Metroid Dread? Let's start with that, because it was something we were going to talk about 2 weeks ago, last week. Mm-hmm. How are you? Just give it to me. How do you like Metroid Dread?
Yeah, I've yet to finish it, but I'm pretty far in. Don't know what the game clock is. I think it's around 6 hours at this point. But yeah, really, really loving it so far. I'll see if my full deep dive impressions for Playdate, because there's a long conversation you can have about this game.
Yeah.
And basically how it feels like really old school, for better and for worse. It feels like a very old game that's been brought into the modern world. And it's like bringing a caveman out into the future, and it's like it's confused about what's around it. It doesn't really know what to do, but you're like, it's okay, I'll teach you. But ultimately, it just feels really smooth, and it's a game I can't seem to get away from. It just keeps pulling me back in. So I can't wait to finish it. And I think, because it's so short, that I might give it a second whirl on hard mode. Might not get all the way through that, but I'm thinking about a second playthrough, which is rare for me.
So I know we have I've got a tweet. I've got something up. If Rose can pull that up for us real fast. I know you tweeted out about Metroid Dread a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Do you still? Let me quote you. Let me quote this. The titular dread of the Emmys pales in comparison to the dread I experienced having never played a Metroidvania before and having no fretting idea where to go. Do you still feel that way, or has it gotten any better for you?
It really, really bugged me at the start. Not to spoil anything, it doesn't really a spoiler at all, but I've never played a Metroidvania before. I never really got into Castlevanias. This is my first Metroid, so this is all new to me, how these games go and how the game progresses. But there are points in the game where you feel like you're just bashing your head against a wall trying to figure out what to do next. And normally the answer is just shoot a wall until you figure it out, which I didn't know for a long time, because again, this is where it feels like such old school game design. There's this bit you'll go to in the second area, and you'll go to another planet, and there's a wall that just looks like the environment here, and a door over here. And a door just leads to a dead end that you can't go to yet because you don't have the abilities. And you're like, okay, where do I go? Ran in circles for about an hour until I realized you have to shoot the wall on the left that looks like the rest of the environment. And you're like, why would you even do that? Why would you try and trick the player like that? But I take it back, not because the game got better in that way, but because the Emmys got more scary as it went on. The Emmys are freaking me out.
Are they?
And I audibly yelp at the TV every time I'm close to one.
Have you gotten? So I just killed apparently it's called the Fast Emmy, the lime green, maybe yellow Emmy. Have you killed that one yet?
Oh yeah, I think I have only one Emmy left to go that I know of.
Nice. Okay, so you're farther ahead than I am on this one, but I'm with Oryx in chat. I think you might actually like Hollow Knight. I think now's the time to jump into Hollow Knight and get your feet wet. It's fantastic. I love the game. I'm enjoying Metroid Dread. Yelping too happens because I'm freaking out when Emmy catches me or comes after me. And somehow I'm able to vault over Emmy a lot and just keep on running. And that's a lot of fun. But I have not felt the terror. I felt the terror of how close Emmy will actually get to you when you go invisible. And she's just right up on you. And you're like, oh, please God, do I need to stop talking? In real life? I don't want Emmy to hear me. I don't need that.
Yeah. Again, like I said, this feels like a game that I'm going to like the first time, but love the second playthrough. Because I'll know all those tricks that the game throws at you at the start, and it will just be pure platforming, shooting, gunning, getting abilities. And I feel like I really love it the second time around, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll reserve judgment until I finish.
There you go. With that, you know what? Welcome to Now to Play Games, your weekly news dump about all the video game news you need to know about. We do this live every Saturday at 4 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. British here on twitch.tv/Now to Play Games. If you can't hang out with us live, don't worry about it. We got you covered. Just search Now to Play Games over on YouTube and bam, everything you need to see right there from Now to Play is just right there. Now to Play Games, our monthly podcast Playdate, which might be recording another one very soon. The last Playdate, banger, fantastic. Go watch and listen to that podcast, please. And then, you know, we got all the other wacky stuff we're going to be doing. We've got the reviews. We've got, not reviews, we're going to talk about reviews, but we've got actually like the press conferences that we're going to react to, all that fun stuff. While you're there, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell so you know when you get another fresh, hot, piping video just for you. If you're listening on podcast services, you know what? Follow us there too. Give us a review, 5 stars if you can. I think that's on Apple Podcast. Tell your friends to follow Now to Play Games wherever they listen to podcasts. Social media, you know, we're cool. I think so. You should be cool. Follow us on social media, Now to Play Games, on Twitter and Instagram. And with that, you know what? Let's go ahead and load up some news. We've got 6 stories, including Nintendo Switch Online price increase, a look at Game Pass. But first, what up, gamers? PvP, the ultimate social media for gamers. What up, gamers? How you doing? This is coming from IGN. Gaming has long been socially active. Has been a social activity, I'm sorry. The original 2-player Pong yelling about screen watchers in GoldenEye, logging into Battle.net for Warcraft 2, MMOs like EverQuest, and even more forums for comparing sim houses. Playing with friends always enhances the quality of the game and even makes losing more fun. So why haven't gamers had a social media network of their own? Enter PvP. PvP is the first true gaming social community and ultimate gaming hub. PvP is a positive gamer community where gamers connect, find gamer friends, showcase your highlights and stats, and play 60 plus titles across all gaming platforms. This is coming from the actual PvP site. Discover.
Are we sponsored?
We are not sponsored. This is not a sponsorship. Okay. Hashtag not an ad. We are not sponsored. I am just playing this hard as best I can. Discover the gaming community. Gaming is always better together, right? But finding new gamer friends without negative vibes in one place at the click of a button isn't so easy. Find old friends, meet new gamers, build your own community using Squad Finder. Our core features, sorry, the Are We Sponsored thing actually got me. The other core features allow you to maintain a lobby and chat with your squad, invite friends to join your squad, and join multiple squads across multiple games. Search for gamer highlights, showcase stats, and discover gaming content in our news feed. By creating and customizing your profile on PvP, you'll allow yourself to become discoverable by our community of gamers and craft your own identity on our platform. Fin, is social media ready for a true gaming competitor?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what is the what spawned this?
Shit, I know, dude. I just saw this. This came across my feed, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is literally a gaming social media site like Discord or like Twitter, TikTok, and it's just for gamers." And I'm like, haven't we really kind of taken over TikTok and stuff like that? It's literally just another place for people to post their shit. And I'm just like,
Gamers are oppressed. We need our own social media. We need to break the glass ceiling.
We do.
I don't know. Like,
oh my god, Amino.
It feels like, if anything, like, because everything's kind of social media now, like YouTube social media. I feel like Twitch, if anything, is the gamer social media, or Discord, or they're both trying to get away from that, I guess. So, like, maybe now that they're scrubbing off the gamer stank, someone else is trying to pick it up. I don't know, dude. Like, this, if it helps people, like, find friends to play games with, like, I'm always for that. It reminds me of back in the day, like TeamSpeak servers, you just drop into a random one and you didn't know who was there. You didn't know what was going on, but it was fun. You met new people. Some of them racist. You know what? A fair amount of them racist. Yeah. And you just had to wade through that sometimes to get to the good people that ends up being friends for life.
This one is IGN's reporting, actually, when it comes from, it's just the idea of it's still in beta and they're trying to get people to kind of invest in it, like at a $500 tier or something like that. So they're still trying to build everything up to get people in there. I've kind of thought about go ahead and like signing up to see what would happen, but I highly doubt I am the demographic for this one. Like I don't play Call of Duty or anything like that, so I don't know if this would be for me. But I am with you. Like, it's weird, but I think if you can find more friends, then find more friends. Yeah. I mean, we all need them.
It's one of those things, though. And I always wonder, we're getting quite introspective on this podcast, to just see later, but one of the things when we were starting, or like when we were both like starting Playhouse and then rebooting is Now to Play later on, one of the things like I was very adamant of is like no gamer stinky names.
Yes.
Like, I've made up a bunch on the podcast before, like Joystick Warrior, or, you know, One Up Gods, or was it Dead or something. You know
my
what I mean? Like,
personal favorite, Drunk in the Pub.
Shut up. Don't bring in Drunk in the Pub, okay? Get that No. Drunk in the Pub was Jon at 13 thinking he was kick-ass, all right? Get that crap. No. Don't bring that up.
But it's that thing where, like, if you brand with that gamer-heavy mindset, like, you're gonna maybe bring in some people, but I feel like you're gonna turn a lot more off. Yeah. And that's why, like, Discord was a gaming platform, but it wasn't overly gamey, and is now like become multi-purpose. Yeah. I feel like it's always wise to keep your options open like that. But PvP is so
it is very direct on the. This is what we're trying to find, and I'm like, I'm sure it's gonna bring in people, but it's just like it's to what means, like, so I can post. Oh, wait. I have another one actually that I literally GG's. It literally is called GG's. And it was one that was kind of thrown at me. It's like Facebook, but for gaming. Right. And I'm like, I forgot that I had this until like right now. I'm like, that's the thing. Like there's going to be a Twitter, a Reddit. How many Discord, or not Discord, how many Twitch roll-offs have we had so far? And I not that I don't want it to fail, but I'm just like, what is the incentive to go behind it? To me, someone who is trying to build a brand, we've got Now to Play, we're trying to build this thing up. Why do I need to go over there? What are you going to help me? What incentive do I have moving over there? Yeah,
it used to be a thing I do a lot, where like a new social media would, like, I'd see it on my feed and I'd sign up for it just in case one day it took off. Yeah. But it's so rare nowadays. I feel like you're never going to see another MySpace. Like, Facebook isn't going to completely tank. I think Twitter might get bought, but that's about it. I don't think any of like the big players right now are going to tank. And I feel like if anything, they will. If there's a demand for gamer Facebook's just going to do it. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it sucks because it's kind of like monopolizing everything. But like, that's just the internet we live in.
Also, what do you think Facebook's going to change their name to? Yeah, take off your hat, dude. Take off. You don't have to be cool anymore. Don't be cool gamer, bro. All right, that was just for the bit.
Be cool anymore?
No, you don't have to be cool anymore.
I was putting on an act, like I'm not always just cool by default. Is that what you're implying?
No, of course not. So, what do you think Facebook is going to be called? Because they're going to announce it next week. I didn't put this in the run show.
Like the metaverse. I think it's gonna be like Skynet or something. It's gonna be something that freaks us all out. Yeah.
Like, I had to explain.
It's gonna be Zucknet.
Zucknet.
Yeah, Zucknet.
I had to explain the metaverse, and the best way I could have done it is like I just showed the people at work Ready Player One, the trailer to that. I'm like, this is gonna be it. This is literally what the metaverse is, and they're like, oh, that's scary. I'm like, I know. We're in technology. It's gonna be a nightmare fuel. But
you can explain the metaverse. I can't.
I tried. Okay. I don't know if I want to right now. I think it took 30 minutes, and we do an hour-long podcast, so screw that game. Guess what? Uncharted actually came out with a trailer, guys. Who knew? This game that has been in development... No, sorry, not game. Movie that has been in development hell since, like, 2011 finally came out with a trailer. We're talking, like, Bradley Cooper was supposed to be Nathan Drake, and then Marky Mark was supposed to be Nathan Drake, and now Marky Mark is Sully. Finn, did you watch this trailer?
Yeah.
How you feeling about it?
Loved this trailer. Really took me by surprise. Because, again, I didn't have high hopes for this film. It's been in development hell. It's been one of those things where you constantly hear, oh, it's coming. The Uncharted movie, it's coming. And I gave up on it. But I feel like a lot of people forget that it was in development for so long. I feel like people sort of jumped on the Tom Holland bandwagon and then realized, oh, this is an actual movie.
Yeah.
Was surprised by how little I hate Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I thought I would hate that for sure. Yeah, but I don't hate it.
Like I don't mind the dude, but he very much is a typecast character when you like cast him, and it actually works for Sully. And I'm like, oh shit, I think we might actually have a pretty good franchise on our hands.
Mm-hmm. It could, if it was like, if Tom Holland was older or Tom Hanks was younger, it could have been Tom Hanks as Sully, and that would have been. But he's already played Sully, I guess. So. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There it is. But no, I was pleasantly surprised with how little this trailer cared about like realism. Right, it's pretty fantastical and like far-fetched in a good way. Yeah, it's not like a movie where it's like this could actually happen in real life. Like, no, stop it.
We're pulling from our source material. There was a Yeti in our source material. We can throw just anything we want to in there, and it should work if we at least have the heart of the actual game and the story. Yeah.
For a long time, video game movies, they hated that they were video game movies and wanted to get away from it. This seems to embrace it. And I was waiting for a moment in the trailer that like got me, and the jumping from crate to crate and up to the plane was iconic. It was in Drake's Deception, I think, which was Uncharted 2. And I think he did it again in Uncharted 3, but that was iconic. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. So with that, because that's what I was trying to figure out. Because I've seen little bits, like I played the game, and I'm like, oh, that's in this game. That's in this game. Is this a prequel? Is this a sequel? Are they just literally pulling kind of like the best of when it comes to it? Like, how do you feel that they're doing this? Or is it just like, hey, we know that you know Nathan Drake. We know you've probably played the games. Here is this interpretation of it when it comes to the silver screen.
Based on what I remember of my Uncharted playthrough and what I remember of like articles I've read of this movie being in production for a long time, I think this is before Uncharted 1. I think when we're in Uncharted 1, Nathan Drake is already an adventurer. He's already done a few spelunks in his day. And I think this is like sort of the emergence of Nathan Drake in this movie as like his first adventure and meeting Sully and, you know, like building the blocks that way. Which they do harken back to in like later Uncharted games and like little snippets. But this is going to be the first like origin story, like true origin story, I think, for Nathan Drake, which is an interesting way to go. I always say when you're adapting TV and movies from video games, you should cover material that people are interested in but hasn't already been covered in the games, because you're inviting a direct comparison that way when you just recover the same ground. That's why I think it's wise to, you know, for people who are unfamiliar with Uncharted, start at the beginning. With people who are familiar, still give them something new. Yeah.
Okay. It's real. We know this is real, and you were talking about storytelling and whatnot. And we have to throw this out there. What is the next thing Sony is going to give us when it comes to either a TV show or a movie? What's your dream project? And I swear to God, if you say Crash Bandicoot, I'm going to get up out of this chair and I quit.
Close. There are two things that I think are happening, but I'll save those in case you want to talk about them. I think what I'd actually, and I guess, well, it would still be PlayStation Productions, so that's fine. It wouldn't be in this style. But I would love to see an animated Astro Bot movie. Okay. Like, in the vein of the PS5 game, where he just runs around and there are a bunch of references to, like, other video games, and they all help him out in his adventure. Like, you don't have to, like, have Kratos' voice actor come in if it's just, like, Kratos Astrobot, and, like, he's wielding the axe, and you have, like, Aloy Astrobot, and they're all just hanging out. Yeah. I feel like that'd be such a fun movie.
Okay, that was not what I was anticipating, and I actually freaking love that. That's a nice little, like, here's the homage to all the PlayStation stuff, everything that you love. You know what, that'd be a cute little, like, cartoon movie that I could get behind. I want to say Bloodborne. I don't know if it would work.
You need the right director.
You need if it's not Guillermo del Toro, I don't think it would work. Or anyone like Guillermo could actually, like, put behind and do this. I almost want to say God of War. I almost want to say like a TV show God of War. Like, if Last of Us does really well, I think we might be able to pull off a God of War TV show on HBO.
I think I'd be interested in God of War. I don't know if it would work. I think the two that I believe are happening are in that same vein, where I don't know if they'll work, but I'm interested, is Horizon Zero Dawn and Ghost of Tsushima. I think those are the two properties where they're like, we need to adapt those immediately.
Ghost, is it a TV show or movie? I don't remember. But yeah, both. I do remember both of those saying that they are going to get adapted in some way, shape, or form. And Ghost of Tsushima, I'm 100% down with. I will watch the shit out of that movie and or TV show. So yeah, that one I didn't want to touch because I knew we were going to have something like that. You know what? Speaking of PlayStation, we have a state of play, guys. Who knew? It is coming. This Wednesday, actually, the 28th, I believe. Was that what that is? 27th?
The 27th.
27th.
27th. Thank you. All right. This is coming from the PlayStation blog itself from Sid Schumann. Hello again. I just want just a quick note to tell you that State of Play returns next Wednesday, October 27th. I should have read at 2 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. British Standard Time. As usual, you can watch on our broadcast live Twitch and YouTube. Hooray! This time out, we'll be focusing on announcements and updates for upcoming third-party releases headed to PlayStation 4 and 5. The show is looking to be about 20 minutes or so, and we'll share new looks at previous announced games, plus a few reveals from our partners around the world. See you Wednesday. Finn, do you think this is going to be the banger that Nintendo was that we got last week or 2 weeks ago, where it was 20 minutes and we're like, oh my God, how did Nintendo pull 20 minutes of just absolute kick-assness?
No, because I think for a large part the Nintendo one was their E3 thing. The purpose of this State of Play, and I think people should know this, is to both for Sony and for their third-party partners to get in before their Q3 financial reports.
Yes.
Sony's is the week of the State of Play. I think Square Enix, Capcom, and EA, and Ubisoft, and some other people all have theirs the following week. And so publishers often like to get some stuff out there before those so they can excite their shareholders and stuff. So that's the reason this is happening. But I don't think we're going to see any major bangers here.
No just Final Fantasy 16?
Nah, not an event like this.
No, I don't.
I think you have to have one big thing, one medium thing, like
I agree. I think you have to one medium thing. Final Fantasy 16 would be wasted here. I'm going to be honest. I think you need something a little bit bigger when it comes to that, and so I'm with you. I think we need something juicy, but not the whole shebang, which would be Final Fantasy 16 or anything like that. I still think we're going to get something from Stray. I think that's kind of one of the bigger third-party games that we know a lot about, but it got pushed. So it's kind of one of those, hey, remember Stray? We pushed it a couple months ago. We just want you to remember about it. And then I know, oh crap, what was the game that just got pushed? I have it on my fantasy league. God, it's from Disaster Piece did the music.
Solar Ash? No.
Hold on. Oh crap! I should have had this up. My bad. I just thought about this. Wait, no.
Say words that are
Hyperlight. The developer of Hyperlight. Who did Hyperlight?
Solar Ash. Heart Machine.
Solar Ash.
You're talking about Solar Ash.
Yes. Am I? Okay. I don't remember. I just have it on my fantasy league. I think we're gonna get more of that stuff in the 20 minutes. Just the quicks. Hey, don't forget about this game. Here's this game, and good luck with that, and all that stuff. Any game that you want to see, Finn?
Not really. I just want to be surprised. I want to go in with completely like underwhelmed and come out with like an like just a little like yeah. I'm not expecting like high intense really big hitters or something. You said Stray. I think that's still considered a PlayStation Studio game, which I think they consider second party, and they're focusing on third party here. So I don't think anything. Yeah. Yeah,
you're right. My bad. Oh, shit. Yeah.
To my knowledge. So I don't think, anything with PlayStation Studios or anything that's like exclusive to PS5, I don't think you're going to see here. This is going to be purely for maybe. Nah, that's too big. The Capcom one that I thought was like a Kojima game, but wasn't, that got shown and never appeared again with like the little girl and the spaceman.
Oh, yeah. That one.
I don't think that'll show up either. I don't know. I just want to go in and be surprised by something. If I get one exciting game in this, that's fine.
What about what's the one that everyone thought was a Kojima game and it's not, and now people are pissed off? Abandoned. What if they just shadow drop Abandoned right then and there?
You know what? Abandoned would be very funny here. I would respect Abandoned being here.
Here you go. We're sorry that we pissed off the entire internet. Yeah. That
But I think we should mention that we're not doing reaction streams to this.
Oh,
just
no.
temper people's expectations. Like, we're not reacting to this. It's not worth it. Just enjoy the show and, hey, don't expect anything because it's not going to be there.
Yeah, just temper expectations. We're not doing it. We'll talk about it next week. I guarantee you that much. Because let's be honest, there will be something that we're going to be like, what the hell? That's there? Hell yeah, that's great. I expect that, but I don't expect like a full-on banger of a game, like just out of nowhere. Like, oh, that's awesome. I'll be like, oh, cool. There's the one I've been looking for. That's the one I was hoping for.
My one prediction, they will announce a game that you didn't think was coming to PlayStation Plus coming to PlayStation Plus.
Ooh.
Like a bigger game than should be on PlayStation Plus. It's like, boom, you're getting it free.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I'm going to stall real fast because I see Rose, our producer, kind of bouncing around. And everything okay over there? I just want to make sure.
I can't hear you guys in my headset.
Oh.
I can hear you on stream through my phone,
but you can't hear us.
I can't hear you in my headset.
Can chat hear us?
Chat, can you guys hear us?
Hopefully they can.
Yeah, that'd be weird if we've just been bouncing around for the last 5 minutes.
Oh, no. I can hear you on my phone.
Okay.
So chat can hear us.
Right. Okay, cool. Cool.
But I can't hear Finn at all. I can hear Jon because he's in the next room.
Okay. That's
so,
no good.
This is going to be interesting, guys.
We can just...
your producer is blind, or at least deaf.
Okay.
All right, you know what? If I need to relay any messages, I'll relay them through Jon.
Yeah, I'll yell at you on the other side. All right, well, moving on. Yeah. You know what? We were out for a couple weeks. So Nintendo did their Direct. It was a banger of a Direct. That's what we're talking about just recently, just last story. But Nintendo Switch Online is now finally announced their new pricing schedule or pricing structure. And let me just give you the rundown of what is going on. It is coming out October 25th. That is in 2 days. It's $49.99 per year for an individual subscription, up $30 from the non-expansion price point, $79.99 per year for family pack, which is up $45 from the original price point. And just for context, I want to make sure everyone has the context for everything. Other services, which would be like Xbox, $180 a year for Xbox Ultimate Game Pass. That's Xbox and PC. And then it's $60 a year for PlayStation Plus. But I added in the $60 for PlayStation Now, kind of balancing out the games that you can get. So that would be $120 together. So you've got $120 for both PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. You've got $180 a year for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And then you've got $80. I'm saying $80 because that's what I pay for the family plan, or $50 when it comes to a single plan for Nintendo Switch Online plus family expansion pack. Now, real fast, Finn, how are we feeling? How is this too much? I've seen the internet. I've seen you, internet. I've seen you, gamers. You're pissed. Tell me why. Why should they be pissed, Finn?
It stings. It stings when you consider what else is on offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at Game Pass later in our show. We already talked about what like PlayStation Plus offers. And what we're like used to, I feel like, again, this is a sort of thing where we're creatures of habit and we're used to playing, what was it, $20 a year for Switch Online. And it's just like, I was more mad when this got revealed, and I think I've settled down.
Okay.
It still stings that I'm going to pay this, because I am going to pay this.
Me too.
But I think it's just, I get it from Nintendo's perspective where their sales are on par with the like PS5 if you line them up like by release, like the graph going up with like unit sales roughly.
Mm-hmm.
But Nintendo get less per console than PlayStation does because of PlayStation Plus costing $50 a year. That's pretty much guaranteed for every user. You're going to get at least $50 from every user a year, plus whatever games they buy on top of that. Nintendo is just getting a measly $20 a year from their Switch users, which, like, even though they're selling the same amount of consoles, they're not getting as much per user. So I get it from Nintendo's perspective. And when I think about it, really, I think back to how PlayStation at the beginning of the PS4 era, were able to sneak in the, like, you need PlayStation Plus to play online now.
Yeah.
Now, that was like a unprecedented circumstance because of how much they were crushing Xbox at the time in the PR war. So they were able to just slip that through and nobody really complained. This is just a creation of Nintendo's own making. They just had to come out and say, hey, this is what it is, deal with it. But they still give you the option. If you're not crazy about the N64 games, if you're not crazy about the Animal Crossing stuff, you can still get by on $20 a year. They're still giving you that option.
Yeah, I mean, you still get the Nintendo games, you still get the SNES games, and this is just if you want N64, you want Sega, excuse me, and if you want the Animal Crossing DLC, which, I mean, like me, I've got Rose, I've got myself, and I've got my I've got another friend who's on our family pass, and I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna have it. That's fine. I don't give a crap. Because specifically for Rose, because she's going to get the DLC for Animal Crossing. She's played the shit out of that. So to me, it's a value because of what we get, the hours that we get for the specific games like Mario 64 and all that stuff. But I want to put this in perspective, mainly because I collect video games. It's tapered off recently because of the pandemic, but I've always enjoyed like collecting video games. I like going out trying to find this stuff. So we're going to start with the just $50. That's what we're going to do individual. Most people are going to do an individual price band. You get $50 for the expansion pack. So I pulled these numbers a week ago, so it might have fluctuated a little bit. I went and I pulled every single price for the games that you get at launch. Starting with Mario 64, it's $25. Ocarina of Time is $40. Star Fox 37. Mario Kart 37. Star Fox is 20. Sin and Punishment is 72. Dr. Mario is 24. Mario Tennis is 21. Win Back is 20. Yoshi's Story is 22, which is the total cost, $281 that you have to, you would fork out right now if you wanted all those games. I'm not factoring in you need the N64. I'm not factoring in you need either a CRT or you need to buy a Retro Tink or anything like that. Like if you want to go that route too, that's another $120 probably for the N64. And it's about $300 for the Retro Tink if you want to play it on an actual big screen TV, flat panel, or you can buy the little adapter or the HDMI out. And I want to say that's $150 or $200. For the Sega lineup, this one blew my mind. You've got Sonic 2 at $5, Streets of Rage at $22, Eco at $10, Castlevania Bloodlines $85, Contra Hardcore $48. Mean Bean Machine is $13, Golden Axe $16, Gunstar Heroes is $69, Musha is $309, Fantasy Star is $69, Rise Star is $67, nice. Shining Force is $50, Shinobi 3 is $30, Strider's $20. Total cost of all those games together, if I bought them right now, give or take about $813, bringing the total cost to $1,094. Plus, you get the Animal Crossing DLC, which means it's going to be $1,119 that you're going to pay $50 a month for, or $50 a year for. Plus, we're going to get other games. So it's one of those like value of what you're getting, because yes, you can go buy these games. By all means, please go buy these games. You can, but you're also paying for the convenience of when you can play them at any time. And so it's kind of like, I hear what people say and I understand what you're saying. It's expensive. Shit. I would have loved if it was $50 and like $30. Right. Like that would have been more of a sweet spot, or 60 and 40 or something. Well, yeah, 60 and 40. That would have been a little bit of a sweeter spot. $80 for the family pack, $50 for the single pack. That's rough. I'm not going to fight you on that one. But then you have to take that step back. One, we know Nintendo's going to do whatever Nintendo's going to do, and we're going to have fun with it because that's us. Finn already said it. We're buying it. He's buying it. I'm buying it. Shit, I bought 2 N64 controllers. I did. I did it. I just like, screw it. I'm just going to buy them because I want to have fun with the N64 controllers, and I bought one Sega controller. $1,119 of value I am getting by paying $80 a year. Mm-hmm. And I want to put that out there for people because Finn said it right. You don't have to buy it all. You can still stay on your pack, the original one, to play online. But if you want here is what you're getting for your $50 a year.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that, guys. I just want you to know that.
And it's one of those things where it should be mentioned that it's a catch-22, because while you can do the thing that you said, where, like, say you just care about the Zeldas, you just want to play out Ocarina of Time and then later Majora's Mask, you could, like, be on the $20 tier and then pay for a month or 3 months, play Zelda, and then dip out back to the $20 tier.
Yeah.
What Nintendo are counting on is that you'll forget or just, like, stick with it anyway, and it happens all the time with subscription services.
This is this model.
So, you know, that's likely going to happen for a lot of people. But if you're strong-willed, you can absolutely do that. You can dip in and pay. Was it like $7 for like a month thing? Something
like that, yeah. It's not that expensive, and a lot of people now, we can power through Zelda if you really want to. If that's what you want to do, $7, and even that idea, $7 in, get through Zelda, get out. Oh man, that is a value beyond belief.
Yeah,
but yeah, and it's a weird catch-22 because if you stop paying for it, you lose access to the games. Guess what, guys? The same thing happens with PlayStation Plus. You lose access to your games if you stop playing those. So, also, just real fast, I know rumors happen sometimes. Guess what? There's another rumor for Nintendo Switch Pro 2, whatever it's called. Cool. Continuing on. Those are going to happen every single week for the rest of our lives. So I'm just like, until we get something concrete, I'm down with just going, hey, look, more rumors. More freaking rumors. But you know what? Finn, you and I have both been saying that Game Pass is the best value in gaming. I believe you want a deep dive on this bad boy. And let's talk about Game Pass. And honestly, tell me what you think. Tell me what you're feeling about this one.
So I want to draw your attention to an article that came out this week from Axios. This is Stephen Toledo that wrote this. The title is Xbox Game Pass subscriptions miss Microsoft's target. And I quote, "For the 12 months that ended on June 30th, Xbox Game Pass subscribers' growth was up 37%, but the company had set a goal of 48% growth. In the company's prior fiscal year, which ran from mid-2019 through mid-2020, Game Pass subs were up 86%, exceeding the target of 71%. Basically, that drew my attention, because it's sort of, I love whenever we get Game Pass metrics, because it's something that we've had a lot of hype for, we've talked a lot about, we spout a lot about it being like the future, how important it is to Microsoft's business model, how much value it provides, and how it's just like going to draw people. We talk about it during every Microsoft conference. And so I wanted to take a look at like where we are now, a few years later, with Game Pass. I just sort of take a deep dive into it. I want to start with just generally bringing some context to this quote, right, of like them missing their targets, where that came from. This was from a financial filing that Axios were able to get a hold of, which was not necessarily like a usual quarterly report that they give. This was the executives determining how much bonus they get based on goals. So like at the beginning of the financial year, they will set a certain number of like goals to hit, and like with Microsoft, it's like certain number of Windows 10 monthly devices, certain number of LinkedIn events, things like that. And so this was one of them. It was Game Pass subscribers to hit this amount of growth.
All right.
This is the only gaming metric they have on that list. And it's like right up there with all of their most important ones. Again, I mentioned like LinkedIn, Windows 10, the cloud stuff. Like, so this is the be-all and end-all for Microsoft in terms of this is their metric to judge how successful their gaming division is.
Okay.
If it's not Xbox Game Pass subscribers, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many consoles you sell. It doesn't matter how many players Halo Infinite has. None of that matters. It's all about Game Pass subscribers, which I thought was really interesting and sort of indicative of where we thought Game Pass was going to go. Yeah. This is it for Microsoft. But starting off, like, it's still a good thing that they hit 37% growth. I feel like they'll see that as a good thing, but why did they set the 48% goal initially, and why didn't they hit it, I wonder? And I think they're like, I want to see, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I have a few things that I think might have contributed to it.
With me, the number of 48, the 48% is I don't want to say arbitrary. I question why that specifically like Microsoft chose 48. I like that we're able to see, and like you said, like this is it. It's Game Pass. So they give a crap less about anything else. They want to give you a gaming experience with the Xbox Series X and S. But you know what? I can play most of those games now on this phone, on this computer, and all that crap. So what was the 48? Like, how did we zero in on that one? I'm actually I'm not shocked they didn't really make it. Like, they pushed it hard, and them being 11 points off is damn near impressive. Because let's be honest, Xbox is in third place. I'm going to be honest. Xbox is in third place. It hurts me to say that. I love Xbox, but it's in third place. We always think of it's Sony, it's Nintendo, and then it's Xbox. And Xbox has done a damn fine job at giving you, hey, under Papa Phil, here's what we're doing. Just give us time. And I'll say, I think 2021 is the first time that we were like, okay, Xbox is ready. Xbox is primed up now, and we're ready to go. I want to know what caused them not to get there. Was it lack of first-party games? Because that's always been the issue with Xbox, especially in the Xbox One era, last gen. They didn't really have good banger first-party games that made you go, I need an Xbox. Sony, they have them. God of War. Nintendo has it. Any kind of Mario game. But Xbox truly doesn't have that banger title that you need to play an Xbox. Like, we're all a little bit different. Forza's mine. I will always have an Xbox to play Forza. But that I'm a very niched person when it comes to that. So enlighten me, Finn.
I think you're bang on the money. If you think about where Microsoft was at this time last year, they were doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on Halo Infinite coming out with the launch of the Xbox Series X. And that ended up getting delayed to the end of this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge part of why they didn't hit their growth goal. Again, like, it's not... People will see that Halo Infinite is coming out on Game Pass, and that will drive subscriber growth for a little bit, but it's like sort of the Netflix effect. It's when a new Netflix show drops, that's when the subscribers take up. Same thing with this. When a big game drops, subscribers take off. And so I think they were banking on that. Another theory I saw, which I kind of agree with, but I'm unsure, is I think they were banking on the Series S being more of a hit and more... Rose is listening to me.
Rose has to listen to us off of her phone, so she knows when she needs to switch things.
Oh my
producer got to do what a producer got to do.
Hey, it's we find innovative solutions here. But no,
outside the box here on Now to Play.
Series S, unlike a Series X, you can find them. They're still on shelves, and I think for a lot of people, they're okay with their Xbox One. There's still a lot coming out in the Xbox One and PC and stuff that they don't need to jump to next gen, and if they are, they're like, well, I'm not going to get the Series S, I'm going to wait until I can get my hands on the Series X. I think they were sort of betting on that lower tier model to maybe be a bigger driver for them. I don't think it hit the way they want it.
You know, I actually follow that mainly because Rose and I, like, we don't share consoles, so we're going to get another PlayStation 5. I've said that, and we're going to go ahead and like get an Xbox Series S. And we talked about it for the longest time, and Rose actually was like, do we really want one? Oh, we have a 1X out in the front room. And she's like, if you really need to play the game at the high fidelity and all that crap, why don't we just buy a Series X? And that actually, when we stopped and talked about it, we're like, no, that actually logically makes sense. Like, here we are, we've got a Series X. Why do we want to just, like, if it's just for Game Pass, just put it on PC. We'll pay for a PC Game Pass for Rose, but if I want to play out in the front room, why go to the Series S when we have the X? We want to just buy another X. So maybe there is some validity to that, because it's not a bridge connector. I don't think it's as much of a connector between the X, the 1X, and the Series X as Microsoft wanted it to be, because it leans more toward the 1X side than it does the actual Series X. So if it was more of a middle ground, possibly, maybe you would have been able to see it, because I think they probably wanted the price point to push it farther than anything. And again, I think that comes back to freaking not having first-party titles. Like, the Xbox Series X, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, please, anyone, is cheaper than the Switch OLED, right? Like by $50.
The Series S?
The Series S.
Yeah, should be. Yeah. Definitely.
But people would rather go buy an OLED because you have the Nintendo power.
Right, it makes me wonder, John, if those rumors had been true, had it panned out at the beginning of the next gen, where the Series S was rumored to be handheld. I wonder would it be a different story right now.
Oh my God, I would have lost my shit if it was a handheld. That rumor, that was a beautiful rumor, and I'm like, oh, Xbox has got it. They know what they're doing. That would have been great.
Yeah, I'd be stepping on Nintendo's toes though. The Nintendos.
The Nintendos. All of the Nintendos.
Maybe with a rustle some jimmies that they don't want to rustle. But yeah, like me and you have been subscribed to Game Pass for like well over a year now. We were enticed by the pitch and the sort of big push they did last year. In terms of like recently, like have you been playing much on Game Pass? Has anything like enticed you? Like what's your relationship with Game Pass at the minute?
The straight relationship. I've been on Game Pass since it first came out because that's where most of my friends actually played. So when they announced Game Pass and it was Sea of Thieves, and I just picked it up and was like, cool. And then that's when I registered, like when they started doing all the first party games. So I jumped on Forza Horizon 4 when it came out back in the day. And my relationship is I get the tweet of, hey, this is now out on Game Pass. And I go take a look at it. And I'm like, oh, cool. I've downloaded probably 20, 30 like indie games I would never have even bought and just given it a run for about an hour or two. I'm like, all right, this is cool. Not my Jimmy Jams. And I throw it away and then I go to the next one. But I truly like Game Pass. And Xbox sold me, and I'm sure they probably sold you on the future of what that thing is going to be. And then when they bought Bethesda, that future became a lot brighter actually. And so like I'm pretty excited. I think after the podcast, I'm actually going to go pre-download Forza Horizon 5 and get that taken care of because I'm so excited for that game. It's ridiculous. And I like now that I have access to like Halo. I've never really been a Halo fan. I've had multiple people just go, you need to go play it. I have access to it now, so maybe I should. But I like this idea of I can jump in and get it. Oh, Flight Simulator. There's the one. I actually downloaded it on my computer so my dad could actually play Flight Simulator. That was great. I had a great time just sitting there with my dad, and we're like, oh my God, we're going to crash this plane, aren't we? Because we have no idea how to do this. This is a lot more intense than I thought.
Nice. That's really nice story. I think it's indicative of like this Game Pass effect that like, because it's so unique, it allows for different things. I talked in the most recent episode of Playdate about a game called Lemnis Gate that's out on Game Pass and how I think it's such a unique concept, but I know that I wouldn't have got my friends to try it had they not already had Game Pass. And now they're hooked on it, and now I get to play it with them. And it's so much easier to just like get people into like those multiplayer games. It's so much easier to just like dip your toe into like small indie games that you wouldn't have shilled $20-$30 for originally, but you have it already, so why not?
It's there, why not?
Yeah. And like they talked about like the actual stats with this Game Pass effect in an interview a while ago with Sarah Bond. She was saying that Game Pass subscribers spend 20% more time playing games, play 30% more games, play 40% more genres, and this is crucial, I think, spend roughly 20% more on gaming overall.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the problem that people are like saying with Game Pass. Like we've seen it like kind of kill the music industry. We've seen it kind of kill the movie and TV industry. Like now it's coming for games, but games are like I feel like unique enough to where like I think the subscription model is still the future. And I think it's going to work out better. I've seen more reports from developers that Game Pass is a good thing than a bad thing, and so I'm still like behind it in that way where it's like the discoverability and just the ease of like dipping your toes into things, I think, is a net positive for the industry as a whole. And it means like more diverse games. Like they're huge. If you look at the landing page for Game Pass, like there's such a diverse array of games there that aren't Xbox's usual forte, right?
Yeah.
They like Xbox have got shooters, you've got your Gears, your Forzas, your Halos, but like again, I think the big push into indies is huge. Again, like trying little things. They've got EA Play on there now. They've got like a bunch of they've got Outriders on there now as of like a few days ago. There's like PC specific games like Football Manager 2022, which is a very niche PC game. It's going to be day one on Game Pass when it comes out. The Good Life I don't think reviewed too well, but again, it's part of them like doubling down on like taking risks just in case like this game turns out to be a big thing, which I love. And so I think there's so much value there. And like you look at what's coming, they're adding Dragon Ball Fighters. The standalone version of San Andreas from the recently announced definitive trilogy of GTA is coming to Game Pass, which I don't think I'm going to buy a trilogy now because San Andreas was my
That was your go-to.
That was my go-to. So I think I'm just going to play that in Game Pass now. They're adding Minecraft, which feels bigger than it feels, right?
Yeah, it's Bedrock and Java edition, right? Like it's Minecraft. Period. There you go. Have it.
It's both PC editions, which is smart because everyone has bought Minecraft at this stage.
Yes.
Get everyone else who hasn't. You know what I mean? So that's such a big deal. I feel like that's going to provide such a drive. And then you look at what the most anticipated games for the rest of this year are, and you can list them on one hand, and 3 of them would have to be Age of Empires 4, Forza Horizon 5, and Halo Infinite.
Yep.
And all of those are coming to Game Pass on day one. And so I wouldn't be worried about the success because even if you take this growth rate of 37%, right? You take the most recent figure that we know confirmed, which was 18 million subscribers in January, right? So you take that and you say, okay, what if they sustain this 37% growth rate for the rest of the year? That would still take them up to around 25 million subscribers by the end of the year, which I don't think they're going to maintain that rate. I think they're going to increase it next quarter. And so I think you're going to be brushing up on 30 million subscribers easily. So I don't think there's any reason to be worried. And especially when you look at the first party studios and what they're building. I have a whole list here. Is there anything that sticks out to you as I cannot wait for this Xbox game?
In our run of show, I like that you have this back to back Xbox game studio releases, and you look at it, and I'm just gonna read them off. You got Psychonauts 2, Age of Empire, Forza, Flight Simulator, Game of the Year Edition, Halo Infinite, and then Minecraft. And you just look at it, the genre concept of blurriness that is absolutely fantastic. And I freaking love that. It's not just locking us into, and I'm going to say it, a third person over the shoulder gloomy game. Mm-hmm. I've just described PlayStation. At least now with this, I can go through, I can play different games that I want to. I'm very interested to see how Bethesda works in this. That's what I want to know. The 8 actual first party games and how Bethesda comes in. It's just day one. Guess what I'm doing on November 11th, 2022? Mm-hmm. I am playing Starfield. Why? I have Xbox Game Pass. Just done. I got it. I can play it. I know what I have. That's a weird concept if you think about it. I know what I already have and it's not out yet. Mm-hmm. And I love that idea that my anticipation for it just absolutely, it blows my mind how Xbox is marketed it to me correctly, where it's oh, you're getting this game. You're getting this game. You're getting this game because you have Game Pass. We own these companies. And I think that is absolutely fantastic.
Mm. Yeah, I think about us reacting to Microsoft conferences for the past 2-3 years and how it's all been building to Game Pass. Yeah. I actually wrote down that stat as well. So I looked at the most recent, the E3 one. 30, they showed 39 games at their E3 showcase. 36 of them were coming to Game Pass. Mm-hmm. So that just tells you how big of a focus there are. And yeah, I think we're at a tipping point because we were talking about they're building something, they're building their first party. Now, I think with the release of Psychonauts 2 actually is we're at a tipping point to where we're starting to bear fruit. Because while a lot of the development of that game wasn't under Xbox, Psychonauts 2 is the highest reviewed game of the year along with It Takes Two so far. Yeah. And so I think damn, that's a reason to buy Game Pass in and of itself. Yeah. And you look at what they're building, Bethesda hasn't bore much fruit yet because their 2 main games, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, are tied up with PS5 exclusivity, and Starfield won't be out for a while, but that's building to something huge right there. You've got again, far in the future, you've got the Initiative with Perfect Dark, you've got whatever the hell Obsidian are working on with Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed. Compulsion Games are apparently working on a over-the-shoulder narrative game, story-driven game, which I think they're trying to learn a lot of the mistakes they made from We Happy Few to not do that. This won't be early access or anything. I think the next big thing to look forward to in terms of after this year, looking forward to 2022, we're probably going to see Hellblade 2 at the Game Awards.
I agree with that.
And so you look at this whole thing they're building, and I always consider it at the beginning of Netflix, you had, for a lot of it at the beginning was negotiating third-party TV shows and movies to come to Netflix. And slowly it became this tipping point of like every big show that's on Netflix now that's newly released is a Netflix production.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just like syndicated, like backlog of stuff that they can license. I feel like we're reaching that point with, while it's cool that they're bringing in EA Play and they're like investing heavily in indie games, we're going to get to a point where Xbox Game Pass can be sustained on their first party alone.
Yeah.
I think we're very nearing that point, and it's very exciting.
I would venture to guess that we'll probably start seeing that flow. I'm going to say with Starfield. Like, I know we're seeing the trickle points right now, like with Forza and everything and Psychonauts, but I really think there is going to be that, like, I don't want to call it flood, but constant flow of first party games, probably starting with Starfield. Mm-hmm. And just you see just the back to back. So they said like they're going to release something every quarter or something like that. And it won't be like a big AAA game, but you get a big game, you get a first party small game, you get a big game. And that's all I want. I think that's great.
Yeah. I think, like, final word on this, we could go way deeper.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think this is only stage one of what Game Pass is, which is scary. Because the big thing, what they're building towards is there are 200 million people who play video games on console, whereas there are 3 billion people who play games across all devices. And what Microsoft are building to is, it's not there yet, but the big thing is the cloud. Yeah. And you can already play most Game Pass games on cloud, and it works pretty good. It doesn't work flawlessly, but it works pretty damn good for where we're at now. And if they can keep this momentum going, if they can keep this growth going, to the point where like we're actually at cloud gaming as a viable thing, and you can just like get rid of consoles, you can just play things on your TV. Xbox is going to be the king of the games industry at that point.
Low barrier of entry with a device everyone has. That's all they're trying to do, and they will win if they pull it off. Which, if anyone can do it, actually, I believe in Xbox. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe in Microsoft being able to pull this off.
All right, so even though they missed this goal, it's still crazy how they can just like keep chugging along, and they're building something huge.
All right, let's move on to our last article, last news story, last little tidbit, if you will. Finn, why don't we do reviews here on Now to Play? Let's talk about this. We got an article sent to us, and we found it very interesting. So let's deep dive a little bit.
Yeah, it was actually you that drew my attention to this article.
Yes.
Titled "The Video Game Review Process is Broken." Very provocative title, but I respect where they're going with this. By the Washington Post, written by Mikhail Klimentov. Basically, the key points he makes in it, just to generalize, is that the review process for video games at the minute is broken for developers, for reviewers, for consumers. And he's questioning why we still go into this system. He's questioning why we're still using the system if it's broken for everyone. And like he's saying, like, for consumers, like, does anyone read reviews anymore? Do they just look at scores? Do they look at OpenCritic? For developers, do they like it forces them to like crunch a bit further, or like that? You know, it doesn't really do anything for their game if they don't get their reviews out quick enough. Yeah. And for reviewers, the big perspective that he's coming from is like, it's hard to know to balance these review deadlines to provide value to the reader, to make sure that the review is both thorough and what's the word I'm looking for? But basically, like, adheres to SEO and that people will view the article. Like, it's hard to strike that balance with the conditions that they work under now. And I thought it was really interesting when I was reading through it, because we've had like a few discussions about this internally. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on shows before.
I don't think so.
But we've definitely had a few discussions internally about like where we stand with reviews, how we should approach them, if we should do them at all.
Yeah. And
from my perspective, it was all very quickly from like, I think our first meeting that we had when we were like starting up Playhouse, as it was known, I was like, I'm not doing reviews.
That was right out the gate with you. You're like, yeah, I'm not doing reviews. And we're like, okay.
Because for me, I don't read reviews. I don't find them valuable to me in terms of my decision-making process into what games to buy. I recognize that they're still very good things to read, very good things to exist, but I don't find value in them, so I wasn't going to be able to find the motivation to do them myself.
Yeah.
I never really got your stance on it, but I think you sort of were agreeing with me along those lines.
Yeah, so I very, like, I'll watch a review every now and then, especially if it's a game like, what is this game? Oh, cool. And I'll throw it on and I'll watch the review, but I don't read reviews. I try and stay away from most, like, scores, because I understand, like, if a game gets a 10 out of 10 from, like, 4 or 5 different places, all right, I need my eyes on it to see what's going on with this. But past that, I really question the idea of, like, what does a score mean when it is my opinion when it comes to the game? Like, I'm enjoying this game, so I'm going to give it a higher score than Finn would if Finn doesn't enjoy the game. So the arbitrary concept of numbers never really fully worked for me. And it's always an opinion. So if I respected the opinion of the person who was reviewing it, or I always found myself, like, aligning with them, I'd pay attention more. Like, and I'll be honest, IGN's Tom Marks, I'm pretty on level with him. Like, if he likes a game, I keep an eye on it. There's some games I like it. That is not my thing. But if he talks about a game, I'm like, okay, let me take a peek. I think I would like this. I might try it out. And that's where reviews come into the positive light to me, is where, like, if we did, and just cards on the table, if we did reviews for Now to Play, it would be more of an idea of, hey, I'm playing. God, the big one we got was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Oh my God, we got that the day before we got the day the embargo released.
Yeah.
And I was allowed to stream it if I wanted to the first 3 hours. And I was like, all right, it works out for me because I'm the only one with an Xbox. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And I started it that night after stream. I streamed it in our Discord, and I was like, all right, this is great. All right, I'm still having fun. Oh God, it's a 120-hour game. How the fudge am I supposed to do this? And that's where the negative concept of reviews comes into play, because as the article stated, it's all about SEO. We have, as a small window for people looking, you watching, listening to this podcast, we have a very small window to get this crap out for Google to go, oh, hey, they're looking for reviews on Forza Horizon 5. So when you Google that, SEO kicks in, and they're like, all right, you can find Jeff Grubb at GamesBeat. You can find Kind of Fun. You can find IGN, everything. Like, you can find those people. But then us at Now to Play Games, we have to fight them. And so it's one of those, like, is it worth us getting it out Ricky Tick for you guys? Or is it worth us possibly taking our time, enjoying the game, and we can have an actual, like, true discussion? And you can find out the games John likes, the game Finn likes, the games Keith, Tim, Rose, the games though they like, and, like, find that alignment with them going, oh, Rose really likes indie games. One of Rose's favorite games in the world now is Spiritfarer. I know Rose likes those style of games. Oh, she's going to talk about insert game here. I'm going to pay attention because I like those style of games. And I think that brings more value to us at Now to Play Games, and gives you, again, people watching, people listening, more value in the game, because I can go and power through Forza Horizon 5 when it comes out in 2 weeks. I ain't gonna know shit about it. I'm gonna be like, you get cars, you go fast, vroom vroom. I won't be able to give you an accurate representation of the countryside of Mexico. Is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my life, running at 4K 60. The cars, like, the amount of customization I can do, what I did with, this is my favorite car, insert car, and this is the stats that I did for it, to me personally gives my gameplay, my playthrough more value, giving it to you than I drove around a lot. Here's how I did that. This is the car. And I just, like, I hopefully we're, like, that makes more sense why we don't do full reviews. We do impressions, because I think impressions make a little more sense, like you and I have been talking about Metroid and stuff like that. I think that makes more sense because we're like, oh, dude, it's awesome. And it's the water cooler concept of how we want to approach most games, of hanging out with friends. Dude, this was awesome because I did this. Did you try this? Oh, that's great. And we can get into the nitty gritty. We all like getting into the nitty gritty of the game development and how it feels, the controls and all that stuff. But it's still kind of balancing out without putting a complete stress on all of us who all have jobs or other obligations that we cannot spend 100 hours to get through Valhalla. I haven't finished that game, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have.
Right, but that's the and like I'm gonna bounce off a lot of the points that you mentioned here. Thinking about logic, we did try and dabble in reviews because when we were finding ourselves when we were in the previous iteration of what we are now, we were trying to dabble. We were trying to see if reviews could work because it's the industry standard, right? That's the point this article makes is like this is still the way the industry works and the way a lot of people consume content. So we wanted to try and find a way to express ourselves but to make it work. I think in total we got 3 review codes, right? There was AC Valhalla, which I gave you because you had the Series X, and then the 2 that I took were Bug Snacks and the Red Lantern.
Yes.
And so I think the only review that exists on our channel right now
is the Red Lantern.
At least is the Red Lantern.
It's the Red Lantern.
I'm very, very proud of that video. I really like that video. I really like it, and it was fun to do. But by the time I published that review, by the time I had the code and was able to play it and was able to give my thoughts on it and be thorough, it was way past the release of that game.
Yeah.
So I invested all this time into a thing that didn't end up getting the views that I think it was worthy of. Like, not that we need more views, but like when you sink a certain amount of a time into a project, you need to get the reward back. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I can very clearly see the problem now, where if we don't get review codes early enough, reviews just aren't going to work because they're not going to get the clicks or whatever that we need to succeed.
Exactly.
And I think we later got Bug Snacks, and it was a similar thing where I got it a few days before release, which was not enough time to play through that game. And so I ended up just like talking about it on Playdate. And that's the whole reason why Playdate exists, is because if you try to blast your way through a game in this time between you getting the review code and the game releasing, or like even the day before when the embargo goes up, you will find yourself playing the game in an unnatural way, in a way that a lot of your viewers won't play. Like, most people, like, if they're not playing games for review, they like spread it across like a number of weeks. Like, they just play it naturally. And so you're playing it in a different way. You're trying to blast through this game, and so that creates a disconnect between you and the viewer, and at that point you have to question, like, how valuable is a review? And this is why Playdate exists. Because I think Playdate is the way I can do like game reviews and impressions in a way that makes the most sense. In a way that I don't have to have finished the game to give you my impressions on it. I'm going to tell you where I'm at, and I'm going to let you know where I'm at. Because that's all some people need. They just need like, hey, you're 2 hours into Metroid Dread and there's no bugs and it sort of plays like the trailers would suggest. Great, I'm going to go pick it up. For a lot of people, they need a little bit more. For a lot of games, like, it's online and continuous, and so you need that additional context. And like, how do you review those games? And so for a lot of people, like, traditional reviews don't work. And for me, I'm much more like a laid-back water cooler discussion like you find on Playdate, where it's just natural, right? And you know the personalities that are speaking. Like, you hear a person's voice and you hear their cadence, and you sort of get an impression of what they like. Like, Keith can rant about RPGs, and you know, like, he's an RPG guy. Like, it's not like a blank wall of text that is sort of designed to meet, like, the mass market. Like, you know it's Keith talking, you know what way he tends to play games, you know, like, his sort of mannerisms.
You know how he plays the game and like RPGs in general, and you know what you're getting yourself into when you if when Keith does reviews, and like Tim starts talking about a fighting game, just shut up and listen, because you're gonna find out some great knowledge on fighting games and stuff like that. So that is how Playdate is. That's how Now to Play Games is designed. Is we all have our own little niches that we're good at. And we want you guys to come hang out, pretty much. Like, we're never. Will we do reviews? I can't say never. I don't know if this shit takes off and I budget out time. Sure, we might do reviews, but I don't know how we would actually do them. We'd have to sit back down and figure that out, because it is, again, more value to you. And I saw Woozy in chat. I 100% agree. Numbers only work if the game is like analyzed fully, and I can't do that I get the review. If I get a review code today, and I have to have it done by Tuesday, because most embargoes, depending on when the game releases, Tuesday or Thursday. I don't have time. I literally have no time to do that. Like, so it doesn't make sense for any of us to kill ourselves to get that out to you guys. And instead of taking the time, it might be a month late, giving time to the game so it breathes, gets the patches it needs, plus us just enjoying the game. Would you rather have people talk about video games that they enjoy than reviewing and going through it? The amount of times I've heard, like, other podcasts, like I've heard IGN say it. All right, I'm going to go back through and play the game again, not with the review hat on. And that actually physically hurts me hearing that, because then you're going to have a completely different experience from review hat to normal video game hat.
Yeah, because the people listening and reading to reviews, they don't play video games for their jobs. Like, that's the difference between us and IGN, is like, this isn't our day jobs. We can't spend all day playing a video game to crunch for a review. Like, we can't do that. And so it would be foolish of us to try and mimic a review system that things like IGN, GameSpot, all of those guys have covered already. So when we were looking at like what we want to do with reviews, we were like, okay, and this will be a continuous thing as we like continue to grow and change and adapt. If we do reviews, or if we just stick with Playdate or whatever it is, it's always going to be in a way that works for us and again provides value to you. Because while people like IGN can give you full impressions on the game on day one, and that's fine. Maybe you just look at the score. Maybe you look at Tom Marks's blurb on the gameplay mechanics or whatever.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can say, hey, we're people like you. We have jobs. We have responsibilities and stuff. We're playing games in our free time. We play games like you would play the games, and so we can give you our perspectives in that light. And so I think there is value in that.
I do too.
I really like what we do with Playdate, and I like that it's a podcast that can exist and people can like look at the list of games that we talk about that month and say, hey, like, I'm not interested in 90% of this, but hey, they're talking about Lemnis Gate. That was a game that I thought was interesting. I'll listen to their impressions on that.
Yeah.
And as well, we can like, we're not restricted by the normal review system. Like, we don't have to hit the beats. This is what the story is. This is what the gameplay is like. This is the graphics. This is the sound. We can focus in on the most interesting aspects of the game.
Was that hard for you too? When I wrote the review, I wrote a couple of the review. Like when we were getting our like feet in there, I started grabbing old games that I beat. And I'm like, all right, I can still write a review because it's fresh in my head. And I'm like, what am I talking about?
So unnatural. It's such an unnatural way to write, and it makes me respect the people who are able to do it in a way that's like easy to read and stuff. Yeah. But it's so unnatural to do, and that's why, again, like going back to Playdate, that's why I like that discussion, because it's like we're not hitting the whole span of the game. We're just, again, like trying to be like how you would talk about a game with a friend. And that's what I think is like most of the games I choose to play are either like, if they're not games I already know and I'm excited for, they're word of mouth. They're friends that I know, they're people I trust, they're who I know like what type of games they play. And so it's that aspect. It's a water cooler discussion. It's just a friend letting you know, hey, this is my experience, this is a game, I'll let you know as it continues. And so like, yeah, well, when it comes to like the next episode of Playdate, like I might have Metroid Dread finished, I might not have, I might have 2 playthroughs done, but it's going to be in a way that's natural and in a way that I think speaks to the viewer in a way that a standard review doesn't. Yeah. And again, like if we ever change the way we do reviews, if we ever do more than Playdate, it's not going to be the numbers. IGN, here's a wall of text and a score. We can't do that. It's just unfeasible, and it's not valuable, and it's not unique, and it's not fun.
It's not fun. I like video games. I love video games. We love video games. We make podcasts. We've got everything we do is around video games, and if it ever becomes not fun, why the hell am I doing it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Keith and I see Jen. Yeah, I mean it's rough for all of us. Like it's just one of those things. Like writing reviews is very interesting. It's an art form that I have not yet figured out, but I think it'd be better just for us to just talk about the games and get your guys' opinions. And that being said, let me say that too. If there's a game coming out and you want us to talk about, by all means, tag us, put us in chat. Most of you are probably in the Couch Quades Discord. Tag any of us, all of us, and now to play. Shit, I think you can even tag Now to Play or NTP. And like, just, hey, I'd like to, are you guys picking this up? I'd like to know more about this. I have no problem doing that. Like I try and stay up on the new games. That's why like Guardians, I think I got to pick that up. I know I already pre-ordered Mario Party, the new one. So like we'll stay up on the new games. I'll do my best to stay up with the new games, give you guys impressions, but like the more deep dives to stuff like for Playdate or anything like that, let us know. Like we want to be able to give you value of listening and hanging out. So by all means, please. You got an trust me, we have an RPG master. We have a fighting game master in here. So we cover the gamut. We got you guys covered. Just we're going through the games. There's one specific that we've somehow missed. Let us know. We'll figure it out. We got this, baby. We got
I'd be
this.
super interested to know as well from our audience, based on the fact that they listen to us, if they also do like read reviews or watch IGN reviews and stuff, or do you just like do what I do most of the time, which is if I'm excited for a game, I will gauge the open credit scores. I'll maybe like look at the blurbs with a few of them just to like get what the criticisms are or whatever, and then I'll be like, okay, that's all I need. Because I value my friends and you guys's and my opinions more than I'm honestly, like, no offense to Tom Marks, but I'm never going to value his opinion.
Oh no, that's fine.
Than, like,
yeah, I get that.
a person that I have a connection to, and that's why, like, that's just me personally. But I'd be interested to know how different people consume it, because I do agree with even if you're an IGN or if you are like a bigger setup, I still think the review process is kind of broken or at least outdated. And so I'd be interested, like, to see if that changes in the coming years, or if like there will be alternatives presented, or if it will be more things like, you know, kind of funnies, easy allies, like small outlets like us, like, you know what you're getting, more personal connection, if that's going to become the norm, you know?
I would love that. That'd be great. All right. You guys,
that's all I have to say.
I think that's all you got. That's all I got. You know what? I think we'll go ahead and call it a podcast. Mm-hmm. Usually we'll do a after party with you guys, but we've got stuff we got to take care of. We're going to take a little break from the after party for a little bit, and we'll bring it back at a point sometime in the future. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll figure that out. You guys, honestly, are the absolute best. We love you. This has been your weekly Now to Play podcast here on twitch.tv/Now to Play Games. If you're watching the video on the YouTube channel, which is Now to Play Games, don't forget to subscribe. All you podcast listeners, thank you so much. Go ahead and give us a follow. You are the absolute best. And with that, I'm John. That's Finn. Rose is listening on her phone because everything broke. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. That's gamer cool guy Finn throwing it up there. You're the best. Now go play some games, and we will see you next week. Peace, love, and games.